listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 148. We are continuing in the book of 1 Samuel, and David is on the run. King Saul wants him dead, and this is a game of cat and mouse throughout the Israelite kingdom. And we have to understand that this isn't merely two men chasing each other, running around the wilderness. These are two men of influence, two men who have incredible power, and one of them has God on his side. So we're talking groups of soldiers. We're talking armies besieging a city in order for the king to get what he wants. Just how far is Saul willing to go to get to David? And we are also continuing in the book of John. And Jesus is arrested. And as we go through the process, you should take note how things worked back in the Middle East in Jerusalem. Only the Romans had authority to execute capital punishment. But the religious leaders had their own police. They're the temple police. Because more than just the law of the land, there is religious law. For example, if you are doing work on the Sabbath, the Romans could really care less. But the temple police, they can arrest you and beat you up and do whatever else they want to do to you. But one thing they can't do is kill you. No, you need the Romans for that. So the first stop during the arrest of Jesus is to the high priest and the religious leaders. And we see Jesus being questioned and mistreated. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry. And you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. 1 Samuel chapter 21. David goes to see Ahimelech, the priest. Then David left, and Jonathan went back to the town. David went to the town named Nob to see Ahimelech the priest. Ahimelech went out to meet David. He was afraid of David and asked,
"Why are you alone? Why isn't anyone with you?"
David answered him, "The king gave me a special order. He told me, 'Don't let anyone know about this mission. No one must know what I told you to do.' I told my men where to meet me. Now, what food do you have with you? Give me 5 loaves of bread, or whatever you have to eat." The priest said to David,
"I don't have any ordinary bread here, but I do have some of the holy bread." You can have it if none of your men has had sex with a woman recently."
David answered the priest, "We have not been with any women. My men must keep their bodies holy every time we go out to fight, even on ordinary missions. And this is especially true today." There was no bread except the holy bread. So the priest gave David this bread. This was the bread that the priests put on the holy table before the Lord. Each day they took this bread away and put fresh bread in its place. One of Saul's officers was there that day. He was Doeg the Edomite, the leader of Saul's shepherds. He had been kept there before the Lord. David asked Ahimelech, "Do you have a spear or sword here? The king's business is very important. I had to leave quickly, and I didn't bring my sword or any other weapon." The priest answered,
"The only sword here is the sword of Goliath, the Philistine. It is the sword you took from him when you killed him in the valley of Elah. That sword is behind the ephod, wrapped in a cloth. You may take it if you want to."
David said, "Goliath's sword. There's not another like it. Give it to me." That day, David ran away from Saul and went to King Achish of Gath. Achish's officer said,
Isn't this David, the king of the land of Israel? He is the one the Israelites sing about. They dance and sing this song about him. Oh, what was it? Oh, yeah. Saul has killed thousands of enemies, but David has killed tens of thousands.
David paid close attention to what they said. He was afraid of King Achish of Gath, so he pretended to be crazy in front of Achish and his officers. He scratched marks on the doors of the city gate and let spit run down his beard. Achish said to the officers,
"Look at the man! He is crazy! Why did you bring him to me? I have enough crazy men. I don't need you to bring this man to my house to act crazy in front of me. Don't let this man come into my house again."
1 Samuel chapter 22. David left Gath and ran away to the cave of Adullam. David's brothers and relatives heard that David was at Adullam and went to see him there. Many others joined David too. There were men who were in trouble or in debt, and there were others who were just not satisfied with life. These are the kinds of men who joined David, and he became their leader. He had about 400 men with him. David left Adullam and went to Mizpah in Moab. David said to the king of Moab, "Please let my father and mother come and stay with you until I learn what God is going to do with me." So David left his parents with the king of Moab. They stayed with the king of Moab as long as David was in his hideout. The prophet Gad said to David, "Don't stay in that hideout. Go to the land of Judah." So David left and went to the Hereth forest. Saul heard the report about David and his men while sitting under the tree on the hill at Gibeah. Saul had his spear in his hand. All his officers were standing around him. Saul said to them,
Listen, men of Benjamin, do you think that son of Jesse will give you fields and vineyards? He is not one of us. So don't think he'll give you anything or make you army commanders or captains. No, but you are all plotting against me. None of you told me about my son Jonathan and the agreement he made with the son of Jesse. You knew that my son encouraged one of my own men to turn against me, but none of you cared enough about me to tell me what was happening. And today, that man is looking for a way to kill me.
Doeg the Edomite was standing there with Saul's officers. Doeg said,
"I saw Jesse's son at Nob. He came to see Ahimelech, son of Ahitub. Ahimelech prayed to the Lord for David and gave him some food. He even gave David the sword of Goliath the Philistine."
Then King Saul ordered some men to bring the priest to him. Saul told them to bring Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, and all his relatives who were priests at Nob. So they all came to the king. Saul said to Ahimelech,
Listen now, son of Ahitub.
Ahimelech answered.
Yes, sir.
Saul said to him,
Why did you and Jesse's son make secret plans against me? You gave David bread and a sword? You asked God to show him what he should do, and now he has turned against me and is waiting to attack me.
Ahimelech answered,
David is very faithful to you. Not one of your other officers is as faithful as David. He is your own son-in-law and the captain of your bodyguards. Your own family respects David. This was not the first time I prayed to God for David. Not at all. Don't blame me or any of my relatives. We are your servants. I know nothing about what is happening.
But the king said,
Ahimelech, you and all your relatives must die.
Then the king told the guards at his side,
Go and kill the priests of the Lord, because they are on David's side. They knew he was running away, but they didn't tell me.
The king's officers refused to hurt the priests of the Lord. So the king gave the order to Doeg. Saul said,
Doeg, you go kill the priests.
So Doeg the Edomite went and killed the priests. That day he killed 85 men who were priests. Then Doeg attacked the town of Nob, where the priests had lived. He killed everyone there, men, women, children, and babies. He even killed their cattle, donkeys, and sheep. But Abiathar, son of Ahimelech, escaped. He ran away and joined David. Abiathar told David that Saul had killed the Lord's priests. Then David told Abiathar, I saw Doeg the Edomite at Nob that day. I knew he would tell Saul, I am responsible for the death of your father's family. Stay with me. Don't be afraid, because the man who tried to kill you is the same man who wants to kill me. I will protect you if you stay with me. 1 Samuel chapter 23. Some people told David, Look, the Philistines are fighting against the city of Keilah. They're robbing grain from the threshing floors. David asked the Lord, Should I go and fight these Philistines? The Lord answered David,
Yes, go and attack the Philistines. Save Keilah.
But David's men said to him,
Look, our men are afraid here in Judah. Just think how afraid we will be if we go to Keilah, where the Philistine army is lined up and ready for battle.
David again asked the Lord, and the Lord answered David,
Go down to Keilah. I will help you defeat the Philistines.
So David and his men went to Keilah and fought the Philistines. They defeated them and took their cattle. David saved the people of Keilah. Abiathar, son of Ahimelech, was the man who had run away from Saul and was now in Keilah with David. Abiathar had brought an ephod with him. Saul was told that David was now at Keilah. Saul said,
God has given David to me. David trapped himself when he went into a city surrounded by a wall with gates and bars to lock them.
Saul called his army together for battle. They prepared to go down to Keilah to attack David and his men. David learned that Saul was making plans against him. David then said to Abiathar the priest, Bring the ephod. David prayed, Lord, God of Israel, I have heard that Saul plans to come to Keilah and destroy the town because of me. Will Saul come to Keilah? Will the people of Keilah give me to Saul? Lord, God of Israel, I am your servant. Please tell me. The Lord answered,
Saul will come.
Again David asked, Will the people of Keilah give me and my men to Saul? The Lord answered,
They will.
So David and his men left Keilah. There were about 600 men who went with David. They kept moving from place to place. Saul found out that David had escaped from Keilah, so he did not go to that city. David went into the hills of the desert of Ziph and stayed in hideouts there. Saul looked for David the whole time, but the Lord didn't let Saul catch him. One day, David was at Horesh in the desert of Ziph. He was afraid because Saul was coming to kill him. But Saul's son, Jonathan, went to see David at Horesh and helped him to find strength in God. Jonathan told David,
Don't be afraid. My father Saul won't hurt you. You will become the king of Israel, and I will be second to you. Even my father knows this.
Jonathan and David both made an agreement before the Lord. Then Jonathan went home, and David stayed at Horesh. Some people from Ziph went to Saul at Gibeah and told him,
David is hiding in our area. He is at the fortresses of Horesh on Hakila Hill, south of Jeshimon. Now, King, come down any time you want. It is our duty to give David to you.
Saul answered,
May the Lord bless you for helping me. Go and learn more about David, and keep track of where he goes and who goes to see him. I am told that David is smart, and that he is trying to trick me. Find all the hiding places that David uses, then come back to me. Tell me everything. Then I will go with you. If David is in the area, I will find him, even if I must go to every family group in Judah.
So the people of Ziph went back to their town ahead of Saul. At that time, David and his men were in the desert of Maon, south of Jeshimon. Saul and his men went to look for David, but the people warned him. They told David that Saul was looking for him. So David then went down to the rock in the desert of Maon. Saul heard that David had gone there, so Saul went to that place to find him. Saul was on one side of the mountain, and David and his men were on the other side. David was moving as quickly as possible to get away from Saul. But Saul and his soldiers were going around the mountain to cut them off and trap David and his men. Then a messenger arrived and told Saul, "Come quickly! The Philistines are attacking!" So Saul stopped chasing David and went to fight the Philistines. That is why people called this place Slippery Rock. David left the desert of Maon and went to the fortresses near En-Gedi. John chapter 18, verses 1 to 24. Jesus is arrested. When Jesus finished praying, he left with his followers and went across the Kidron Valley. He went into a garden there, his followers still with him. Judas, the one responsible for handing Jesus over, knew where this place was. He knew because Jesus often met there with his followers. So Judas led some Roman soldiers to the garden, along with some temple police from the leading priests and the Pharisees. Soldiers and temple police were carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons. Jesus already knew everything that would happen to him, so he went out and asked for them. "Who are you looking for?" They answered.
Jesus from Nazareth.
He said, "I am Jesus." Judas, the one responsible for handing Jesus over, was standing there with them. When Jesus said, "I am Jesus," the men moved back and fell to the ground. He asked them again, "Who are you looking for?" They said,
Jesus from Nazareth.
Jesus said, "I told you that I am Jesus. So if you are looking for me, let these other men go free." This was to show the truth of what Jesus said earlier. "I have not lost anyone you gave me." Simon Peter had a sword, which he pulled out. He struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword back in its place. I must drink from the cup the Father has given me." Then the soldiers with their commander and the Jewish temple police arrested Jesus. They tied him and brought him first to Annas, the father-in-law of Caiaphas. Caiaphas was the high priest that year. It was also the one who had told the other Jewish leaders that it would be better if one man died for all the people. Simon Peter and another one of Jesus' followers went with Jesus. This follower knew the high priest, so he went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest's house. But Peter waited outside, near the door. The follower who knew the high priest came back outside and spoke to the girl in charge of the gate. Then he brought Peter inside. The girl at the gate said to Peter,
Are you also one of the followers of that man?
Peter answered, "No, I am not." It was cold, so the servants and guards had built a charcoal fire. They were standing around it, warming themselves, and Peter was standing with them. The high priest asked Jesus questions about his followers and what he taught them. And Jesus answered, "I have always spoken openly to all people. I always taught in the synagogues and in the temple area. All the Jews came together there, I never said anything in secret. So why do you question me? Ask the people who heard my teaching. They know what I said." When Jesus said this, one of the guards standing there hit him. The guard said,
You should not talk to the high priest like that.
Jesus answered, "If I said something wrong, tell everyone here what was wrong. But if what I said is right, then why do you hit me?" So Annas sent Jesus to Caiaphas, the high priest. He was still tied. Proverbs chapter 13, verses 10 through 19.
Pride causes arguments, but those who listen to others are wise. Money gained by cheating others will soon be gone. Money earned through hard work will grow and grow. Hope that is delayed makes you sad, but a wish that comes true fills you with joy. Those who reject a command hurt themselves. Those who respect a command will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a source of life. Their words will save you from deadly traps. People respect a person with good sense, but someone who cannot be trusted is on the way to ruin. Wise people always think before they do anything, but fools show how stupid they are by what they do. An unreliable messenger brings trouble, but one who can be trusted brings peace. If you refuse to correct your mistakes, you will be poor and disgraced. But if you listen to correction, you will be honored. People are happy when they get what they want, but stupid people want nothing but evil, and they refuse to change.
Thank you, everyone. That was day 148. Join us for day 149. We're continuing in the book of 1 Samuel. It's Saul versus David again, and this time Saul has 3,000 men looking for David, but David gets dangerously close to Saul. So close that he could have killed him, and David makes sure that Saul knows about it. Then we'll learn about a rich man that David meets in the desert of Maon. His name is Nabal, and he's a mean and cruel man. But luckily, his wife Abigail prevents trouble by offering herself to be David's slave. And in the book of John, Jesus is under arrest. And while Peter is denying he even knew Jesus, Jesus is brought before the Roman governor Pilate. And they have a short but interesting discussion. But at the end of it, things do not look good for Jesus. We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.